Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how to crochet this little girl's vest. So this vest can be made in a number of different sizes, and for all of the information on how to make the different sizes, please see the description box below. So thank you very much for watching, and please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos. So we're going to start off by making the first half of the front of our vest, and to begin this half we need to do a slip knot. So to do a slip knot, take your yarn and take your finger and wrap the yarn around your finger once and then twice. Then take the first loop and pull it over the second loop, and then take the second loop and pull it all the way over your finger. You then want to take your crochet hook, so take your hook, go in through this space and pull tight. And there you have a slip knot. And now once you have your slip knot, we are now going to make our foundation chain. And we are going to chain 24. So chain 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 24. So I have just finished making my foundation chain of 24, and now we're ready to move on to round 1. So round 1 is a simple round of double crochet. So we're just going to do 1 double crochet into every single chain, and we're going to do our first double crochet into the second chain from the hook. So here is the first chain from the hook, and here is the second chain, and you want to yarn over and go down into this chain, the second chain from the hook. Yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the final 2 loops on your hook. So there we have 1 double crochet into that chain, and now you want to yarn over and go down into the next chain and do the exact same thing into this one. Work 1 double crochet, and then you want to do the same thing into the next chain and the next one, and just keep repeating this all the way along. 1 double crochet into every single chain. So I have just finished working that all the way along. So I did 1 double crochet into each chain, and at the end of this round you should find that you have 23 double crochets. So you can go back and count and check that you have 23, and if you do, then we're ready to move on to round 2. So to begin round 2, you want to chain 1 and turn. And this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So round 2 is a very simple round. We're just going to do 1 double crochet into every single stitch. So yarn over and go down into this first stitch here, as our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So go down into this very first stitch and do 1 double crochet. And then you want to do 1 double crochet down into this next stitch, and 1 into the next one, and just continue this all the way along for round 2. 1 double crochet into every single stitch. So I'm just coming to the end of round 2, so I'm going to do 1 double crochet down into this last stitch at the very end. So there I have finished that round, and you should have 23 double crochets at the end of round 2 as well. And if you do, then we're ready to move on to round 3. So to begin round 3, chain 1 and turn. And round 3 is the exact same thing as round 2. So we're just going to do 1 double crochet down into this first stitch here, as our chain 1 and turn did not count as a stitch. Then we're going to do 1 into the next stitch and 1 into the next one. And just continue this all the way along. So I have just finished working that all the way along for round 3, and at the end of this round you should still have 23 double crochets, and I would recommend that you quickly go back and just double check that you do have that right number, and if you do, we are ready to move on to round 4. So to begin round 4, you want to chain 1 and turn, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So we're going to start off this round by doing a stitch called 2 double crochets together. And when we do 2 double crochets together, we are doing 2 double crochets, 1 into each stitch, but we are not going to complete either of them, and then we're going to complete them both together at the same time. So we are effectively turning 2 stitches into 1. So you want to yarn over and go down into this very first stitch here and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So there you can see we have started a double crochet, but usually we would yarn over and pull through these 2 loops to complete the double crochet. But we're not going to do that. We're going to stop here and leave this double crochet incomplete and move on to the next one. So yarn over and go down into the next stitch and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, just as you would with a normal double crochet. But we're not going to complete this double crochet either. So there we have 2 incomplete double crochets, and you should have 3 loops on your hook, and you want to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And there we have done 2 double crochets together, and we have turned 2 stitches into 1. And now you want to do 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So yarn over and go into the next stitch and do 1 double crochet into this one, and then do 1 double crochet into the next stitch. And just continue this all the way along until 3 stitches from the end. So we're going to do 1 double crochet into every single stitch until we get to 3 stitches from the end. So 1, 2, 3. So you want to stop here, leaving these last 3 not worked in. So I have finished working that all the way along for round 4, and I have stopped when I got to the last 3 stitches. So you can see I have 1, 2, 3 stitches left at the end, and you need to make sure that you are not counting the little chain 1 as a stitch. So this little chain 1 here does not count as a stitch. You want to stop before the last 3 double crochets. And there we have finished round 4, and we're ready to move on to round 5. So to begin round 5, chain 1 and turn, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And you want to yarn over and go down into the first stitch and do 1 double crochet, then do 1 double crochet into the next stitch and 1 into the next, and just continue this all the way along, 1 double crochet into every stitch until the last 2 stitches, so until you get to 2 stitches from the end. So we're going to stop here, so when we have just 2 stitches left. So just continue doing that, 1 double crochet into each stitch until 2 stitches from the end. So I am just coming to the end of round 5, so I have worked that all the way along and I have 2 stitches left at the end here. So I have 1 stitch and then a second stitch here, and make sure that you are not counting this little chain 1 as a stitch. And to finish off round 5, we are going to do a set of 2 double crochets together. So just like we did at the very start of round 4. So yarn over and go down into the first stitch and do 1 double crochet, but stop right before the last step and leave this double crochet incomplete and move on to the next one. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, so this should be the very last stitch of the round, and start to work a double crochet, but leave this one incomplete as well, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops to complete the stitch. So there we have done 2 double crochets together at the end of round 5, and this is what you should have. And now we're ready to move on to round 6. So to begin round 6, chain 1 and turn, and again this chain 1 and turn does not count as a stitch. So to start off round 6, we are going to do 2 double crochets together. So yarn over and go down into the first stitch and do 1 incomplete double crochet, and then yarn over and go into the next stitch and do an incomplete double crochet into this one, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So there we have done 2 double crochets together into the first 2 stitches to start off round 6. And now for the rest of this round, you just want to do 1 double crochet into each stitch along. So we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next stitch and 1 into the next one. And just keep doing this until you get to the very end of the round, so until you get to here. So I have just finished working that all the way along for round 6, and this is what you should have. And now we're ready to move on to round 7. So we are now on to round 7, and the rest of this half of the front of our vest is very simple. We are just going to repeat the last 2 rounds that we just did, so rounds 5 and 6, 4 more times. So we have finished round 6, and now you want to do round 5 again, then round 6, then round 5, then round 6, 5, 6, 5, 6. And you should find that that takes you to the end of round 14. So you want to do rounds 5 and 6 4 more times. So round 5 is chain 1 and turn, and then you want to do 1 double crochet into each stitch until 2 stitches from the end, and then finish off with a set of 2 double crochets together into those last 2 stitches. And then for round 6, chain 1 and turn, start off by doing 2 double crochets together over the first 2 stitches, and then do 1 double crochet into each stitch until the end. And you should find that you are always doing your sets of 2 double crochets together on this side. So you should find that you always do 2 double crochets together in this side of your work. So just keep repeating those 2 rounds, 5 and 6, until you get to the end of round 14, and that will be 4 repeats of each round. And then once you have done that, this is what you should have. So this is what you should have at the end of round 14. And when you get to that round, you should have just 9 stitches left at the very top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And when we do those 2 double crochets together, always on this side, so always on the same side, that decreases and gives us the neckline of our vest. So it gives us this V-neck shape. So once you have come to the end of round 14 and you have done all of those repeats, check that you have just 9 stitches left at the top. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And then if you do, you can fasten off, so pull your yarn out and your hook and cut your yarn. And when you fasten off, you want to leave a long tail or a long end, as you can use this to sew up your vest. And then once you have fastened off, you will have finished the first half of the front of our vest. And you now want to go ahead and make a second half in the exact same way. So you can go back in the video and re-watch all of those rounds 1 through to 14, and you just want to do the exact same thing to create the second half. So just do rounds 1 to 14 in the same way. And then once you have done that, this is what you should have. You have 2 halves to the front of your vest, and they are opposite sides like this. So you want to flip one of them over so that you have them on opposite sides. So this is our neckline here, and then this, where we skipped 3 stitches on the edge, will form our armhole. And then once you have done those 2 halves, we have finished the front of our vest, and we can move on to the back. So we are now on to the back of our vest, and to begin the back you want to start off by doing a slip knot. So do a slip knot. And now you want to make your foundation chain, and for our foundation chain we are going to chain 47. So chain 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 47. So I have just finished making my foundation chain of 47, and now we're ready to move on to round 1 of the back. So to begin round 1, we're going to start off by doing a double crochet into the second chain from the hook. So here is the first chain from the hook, and here is the second chain, and do a double crochet into this one. Like that. And now you want to do 1 double crochet into every single chain along. So do 1 into the next chain and 1 into the next, and just continue this all the way along your foundation chain, and you should find that that is 46 double crochets. So at the end of round 1 you should have 46 double crochets. So I have finished working that all the way along for round 1, and now we're going to move on to round 2. So to begin round 2, chain 1 and turn, and the next 2 rounds, so rounds 2 and 3, are the exact same thing. We're just going to do 1 double crochet into every single stitch. So for round 2, do 1 double crochet into each stitch until the very end, and then chain 1 and turn, and do 1 double crochet back up into every single stitch along. So you want to do 2 rounds of plain double crochet, and in each round you should find that you have 46 double crochets. So just continue working that for those 2 rounds. So I have finished working those 2 rounds, so I have come to the end of round 3, and at the end of this round you might want to just go back and check that you do have 46 double crochets, and then if you do, we're going to move on to round 4. So to begin round 4, you just want to turn your work. So do not chain 1 and turn, just turn your work. And now we're going to go down into this very first stitch here. So go down into this first double crochet and work a slip stitch. So yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. And then you want to do a slip stitch into the next stitch, so into the second stitch along, and then the same thing into the next one. So we're starting off this round with 3 slip stitches, and now you want to chain 1 and then into the next stitch. So this is the 4th stitch of the round. You want to do a double crochet. And now you want to do 1 double crochet into the next stitch and 1 into the next. And just continue this all the way along until 3 stitches from the end. So until you get to here. So work 1 double crochet into every single stitch until you reach this point here and you have 1, 2, 3 stitches left at the end. So just keep doing double crochets all the way along. So I have just finished working that all the way along for round 4, and I have stopped when I got to 3 stitches from the end. So you can see I have 1, 2, 3 double crochets left at the end here, and we're going to stop here, and there we have skipped 3 stitches on each end. So we have stopped 3 from the end on this side, and then when we did the 3 slip stitches at the start of the round, that skipped those stitches. So we skipped those 3 stitches there, and then that makes the armholes for the back of our vest. And now we're ready to move on to the next round. So we are now on to round 5 of the back of our vest, and for the next 9 rounds, so for rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13, so 9 rounds, we're just going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch. So you want to chain 1 and turn to begin each round, and then do 1 double crochet into every single stitch along. And when you are doing this first round, make sure that you do not go into the slip stitches at the end here, that you are stopping when you get to the last double crochet at the end. So do that all the way along, and then chain 1 and turn and do 1 double crochet into every single stitch back along. And just keep doing that for 9 rounds. So you should stop when you get to the end of round 13. And in each round you should find that you have 40 double crochets, so 40. So just keep working that round until you get to the end of round 13. So I have just finished working those rounds. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 rounds in total. And at the end of round 13, I checked that I still had 40 double crochets across. And now we're ready to move on to the very last round of the back of our vest. So to begin this round, you want to chain 1 and turn. And we're just going to do 9 double crochets. So 1 double crochet into each of the first 9 stitches. So go down into the first stitch and do 1 double crochet. Then do 1 into the next one. And 1 into the third one along, and just keep going until you have 9. So like that. So there I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double crochets. And now you want to fasten off, so pull your yarn out and your hook and cut your yarn. And I have actually come to the very end of my ball here, so I do not need to cut my yarn. But you want to cut your yarn, leaving a tail to weave in or work over later. And now you want to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to go to the other side of our vest here, so at the very top. And you want to count in 9 stitches from the end. So count in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then insert your hook into this stitch. And make sure that you are not counting the little chain 1 at the beginning as a stitch. And then you want to take your yarn, place it over the end of your hook, pull it through, and then chain 1. So we're going to chain 1, and there we have attached our new yarn to our work. And now you want to go down into this first stitch, so the stitch that we just attached our yarn into, and do 1 double crochet, then do 1 double crochet into the next stitch. And just keep doing this all the way along until you get to the end, and that should be 9 double crochets. And then when you get to the end, fasten off, so pull your yarn out and your hook and cut your yarn, leaving a tail to weave in later. And there we will have finished the back of our vest. So once you have finished the back of your vest, this is what you should have. So you should have a back and then 2 front pieces. And before we move on to the bottom of the vest, we need to sew up this top part here. So we're going to sew up our vest in 4 places. We're going to sew it up along this little side here, and then along these top sections, so along the 9 stitches here, then along the 9 stitches of the top of the other section of the other side, and then down along this little bottom section here. So we're just sewing it up in 4 places. And to sew up your work, you want to use a yarn needle or a tapestry needle like this. And we're going to use the whip stitch to join. So you can use whatever method you like, but I'm going to use the whip stitch. So you want to start off by threading your needle with one of the ends. So I'm going to start off by sewing my work up the top here. So I'm going to thread my needle with one of the ends from where I fastened off. So where I said to leave a long end, this is where it comes in handy, as you can then use that end to sew up the top. So thread your end, and then you want to go in through the opposite side, so the exact same stitch on the back of your work, and then pull your yarn through. And then with the whip stitch, you always come back around to the same side again. So I'm going to come back around to the front, go in through the next stitch, and then through the same stitch on the opposite side, and pull my yarn through. Then come back around to this side, go in through the next stitch and the same stitch on the opposite side, and pull my yarn through. And it's just come out of my needle, so pull it through. And just keep going, doing that all the way along for the top, and then do the same thing on the opposite side, and then do the exact same thing on the sides of your vest here. And if you don't have any ends that you can thread your needle with, just take a piece of yarn in the same colour, cut a little piece of yarn off, thread it through your needle, and then sew up the side using the same way. So do that until you have sewn up your vest. So I have finished sewing up my vest, and this is what you should have. So I have sewn it up at the top and then on the sides. And now we are ready to move on to the bottom part of our vest. So to begin the bottom part, you want to take this very last stitch on the end here. So take this very last stitch at the end here and insert your hook into this stitch. Then take your new yarn, place it over the end of your hook and pull it through. And then you want to chain 1 to secure it. So there we have attached our new yarn to our work, and now we're ready to move on to round 1 of the bottom. So to begin this round, we're going to do a double crochet down into this first stitch here. So yarn over, go down into the very first stitch and do 1 double crochet. So there we have 1 double crochet into that first stitch. So now you want to skip the next stitch and then into the next one we're going to do our first V. And when we do a V, we do double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all into the same stitch. So we have done double crochet, skip the next stitch, then yarn over, go into the next one, and do a double crochet, then chain 1 and then do a second double crochet back down into the same stitch. So there we have done a V, and now you want to skip the next 2 stitches, so skip 1 and 2. And then into the next stitch we're going to do another V. So yarn over, go into the stitch and do double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into this next stitch. And now skip 1 and 2 stitches and into the next stitch do another V. And you just want to repeat this all the way around for round 1. Skip 2 stitches, then do a V into the next stitch, skip 2 stitches and do a V into the next, and just do that all the way around. And when you do a V, we're doing double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all into the same stitch. So I'm just coming to the end of round 1 of the bottom of our vest. So I have done my last V here, and you should find that you have 2 stitches left at the end, and you want to skip the second to last stitch, and then in the very last one do 1 double crochet. So there we have finished round 1 of the bottom, and this is what you should have. So you get these pretty V's all the way around, and now we're ready to move on to round 2. So to begin round 2, chain 1 and turn, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now we're going to go down into this first stitch here. So go down into this very first stitch, so this is the last double crochet from last round, and work 1 double crochet. And now we're going to go into the first V here, and into this V we're going to do 4 double crochets. So yarn over and go down into the middle of the V and do 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4 double crochets all into that V. And now we're going to do the same thing into the next V, 4 double crochets into this one, like that. And you just want to repeat this all the way around for round 2. We're going to do 4 double crochets into every single V. So here, 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 all the way along, 4 double crochets into each V. So I have finished working that all the way around. So I did 4 double crochets into this last V at the end. And now to finish off this round, we're going to do a last double crochet into this last stitch at the very end of the round here. So yarn over, go down into this last stitch and do 1 last double crochet. And there we have finished round 2, and now we're ready to move on to round 3. To begin round 3, you want to chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to yarn over and go down into this first stitch here and do 1 double crochet. And then you want to move on to this first set of 4 double crochets here. So we have the first set of 4 double crochets, and we're going to go into the middle of this set and work 4 double crochets. So the middle is here, so in between the second and third double crochet. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets. And you want to go into the middle, so the space between the second and third double crochet, yarn over, go down into this space and do 4 double crochets. So 4 all into this space. There's 3 and 4. So there I have done 4 double crochets into the middle of that set from last round. And now you want to move on to the next set, and we're going to do the same thing. Go in the middle, so between the second and third double crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, go into the middle, the space between the second and third one, yarn over, go into this space, and do 4 double crochets. Like that. And we're just going to repeat this all the way along for round 3. We're going to do 4 double crochets into the middle of every set of 4 double crochets from last round. So go in between the second and third double crochet of each set and work 4 double crochets. So I am just coming to the end of round 3. So I did 4 double crochets into the middle of this last set here, and then we're going to finish off the round with 1 last double crochet into this stitch at the end. So there we have finished round 3, and you can see that we have this really pretty pattern, and now we're ready to move on to the next round. So we are now on to round 4 of the bottom of our vest, and the rest of our vest is very simple. You just want to keep repeating round 3, so the round that we just did, again and again and again until you feel that your vest is long enough. So for each round, chain 1 and turn and do 1 double crochet into the first stitch here. And then you want to do 4 double crochets into every single set, so in the middle of each set along between the second and third double crochet. And then when you get to the very end, do 1 double crochet into the last stitch at the end. And just keep repeating that round until you feel that your vest is long enough. So I finished working those rounds, so I just kept repeating that round again and again and again, and this is what I have. And then when I got to the very end, I fastened off, and then I weaved all of my ends into the inside of my vest. And then I went ahead and added an easy single crochet border all the way around the vest and around the armholes. So I just did one single crochet into every single stitch around, and then I added 2 little buttons and used the spaces in between the stitches on the opposite side as button loops, and I have finished. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it easy to follow. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos. And in the description box below this video, I will leave a link to where you can find my Twitter account. So if you would like to go and follow me on there, I always like to post updates and pictures of upcoming tutorials, and I would love to see photos of your crochet work on Twitter as well. And in the description box, I will also leave a link to where you can find some of my written patterns if you are interested. And thank you again for watching. Bye.